is the Monday Morning Motivator with Magooch. Today, I really wanted to share with you something I actually came across on Facebook and shared to my page the other night because I thought it was so touching, and it inspired, some thoughts about the time of year it is, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. And it was this beautiful picture of, you guys know I'm a jazz nerd and I write jazz music. And so there was this beautiful picture of Ella Fitzgerald and Marilyn Monroe at a jazz club. And it told the story of how it says Ella Fitzgerald was not allowed to perform in Hollywood's most popular nightclub, the Macombo, because of her race and body size. Marilyn Monroe, who was a big fan, called the owner and explained that if he booked Ella, she would be there every night, which guaranteed huge press coverage. He booked Ella, and Marilyn was there, front table, every single night as promised. Ella said, "After that, I never had to play a small jazz club again. She was an unusual woman, Marilyn Monroe, a little ahead of her time, and she didn't even know it. Real women support other women." So I thought that was so touching because it shows how successful people it reminds us success is not an independent journey. It's something that everyone helps out and pushes you and supports you along the way. And it's people in front of you and behind you, and it takes all different kinds of people to support and lift you and get you where you want to go. And so knowing that, successful people know that they did not get there by themselves. So they're always the first to help other people. And I think that's really key because I often see like the difference between amateur and world-class mindsets is amateurs are not really the first to go out and help other people. Oh, hey, I'm selling this new thing, or I need help doing this thing. Can you spread the word? A world-class person is going to say yes in an instant without judging, without worrying what people are going to think of them. If there's somebody that can use their help and it only takes a couple seconds of their time, they're going to do it. Whereas amateurs are more thinking about me, how's this going to affect me? How is this going to make me look? What am I going to get out of this? So think about that when someone asks you to help them out. But it's also so apropos for the time of year, Thanksgiving and the holiday season coming up. We just finished up our Thanksgiving weekend marathon. And, Thanksgiving is really a time to think about what you're grateful for what you've received, right? And then Christmas and Hanukkah and whatever you celebrate and however you celebrate it is really a lot about giving. So Thanksgiving is, being thankful for what we've received, and the holidays is about giving. And really both are so incredibly reliant on each other. When one is out of balance, if you felt like you've given too much and you haven't received, you'll feel out of balance. And likewise, if you're receiving too much and you're not giving, you'll also feel out of balance. My yoga teacher used to call it a kind of emotional constipation that, like depression and anxiety and all that are sometimes, because this is his theory, are result of emotional constipation. You're either emotional constipation or depletion. You're either giving too much and not filling back up the tank, or you're receiving too much and not giving back. So those two things really need to be balanced, and it's on both sides. If you're kind of person that gives too much and you're not able to receive, it's not that the universe doesn't want to give you gifts, but you have to be open to receiving them. You'll feel as terrible as the person who's always taking and not giving. So think about that, because I love how these two seasons kind of merge together and how Marilyn Monroe taught us such a great lesson. Another way that you can reinforce this is specifically in sales and if you're a sales manager, helping your sales team and motivating your sales team is the $100 bills example. I've talked about it a few times over the years, but I'll talk about it again today. So when I'm in, I have a sales meeting, and I want to talk about the importance of the mindset of giving versus taking in sales. If you're out there taking and asking people for a favor, hey, just buy, if you're thinking of it as they're helping you through your commissions or sales, helping your company grow, things like that, like they're not that interested in that, right? But it's never about that. It's always about what you're giving them. And if you truly believe in what you're giving them, then you tend not to take it personally. When you're less likely to take it personally, is what I meant to say, when they say no. Because they're not rejecting you. They're not rejecting helping you grow your business. They're not rejecting you making money or paying your bills or all the hard work that you're doing. They're rejecting the help that your product's going to give them. And that has nothing to do with you. They might not be ready for it yet. They might not understand what it means yet. They just might not be the right customer. So I do this example where I stand in front of the room and I pull out a $100 bill and I say, who wants this $100 bill? And some people will raise their hand, but most people won't. Well, I'll go one by one to each person. Do you want this $100 bill? And I always start, if I know my salespeople, I won't start with the person that I know will say yes, because that kind of ruins the whole thing. But most people will get suspicious and they'll start like, are you really giving me $100? How is this working? And then I ask my salespeople to take a $100 bill and go out on the street and try to see who will accept a $100 bill that you're giving out with no strings attached. So people are so skeptical, right? There's always got to be a ulterior motive or something that they're missing, things like that. So most people, if you offer them a $100 bill on the street, are going to say no to you. One in 10, 20 will say yes, and they'll say thank you, and they'll move on. Like, you have to be in a place of receiving and knowing that you deserve and are worthy of this gift that fell into your lap. Now, that's kind of an extreme example because it doesn't happen every day, but there are all kinds of ways that these transpire in our lives. And I'll give you an example, one that just happened to us recently. We thought we had checked. My husband has an FSA, flex spending account, with his work. And if you don't spend all the money in it by the end of the year, you lose it. You can only roll over a certain amount. And we thought we had been checked. We thought in September we had looked back and make sure that we didn't have to spend money or get in our prescription glasses before the end of the year, things like that. Make sure we had all those final appointments before the end of the year. And we didn't have money in there. And we just got a notice that we had $1,000 in that account that we needed to spend with $1,500, and we could only roll over $500. So and my first reaction was like, oh, why do we have $1,000? And then I heard myself, I go, what? I'm not complaining about having $1,000 to spend and to I was like, even if we have to buy $1,000 worth of Band-Aids, because there's not many things you could spend it on, we're going to do that. So that's just an example, all the different ways that money can drop into your life, and you need to be open and receiving to be able to recognize it and appreciate it, because the more you push it away, the longer it stays. So the $100 bills example is such a great way to go out and experiment and realize oh, it's really not about me. It's about the other person and their ability to receive something that I'm giving. And if you take that feeling of knowing that you're truly there to give something and bring that back into your sales when you're prospecting or you're doing your follow-ups, and you're really just here to help and to serve, and it's not your business whether or not they're ready to take advantage of it, then your ability to prospect and your openness and even the effectiveness of what you're doing increases so much. So just want to leave you with that today and wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. We're getting towards the end. I promised 52 52 lives last year, and we're getting towards the end of that. So thank you for staying with me, and I will see you next week. It's the Monday Morning Motivator with